He was a silver screen cowboy, and the real deal as well. We'll tour his California ranch just ahead. January 21st, 1938.
Yep.
A cattleman's notebook.
This dates back to probably the early 30s.
A braided rawhide riata.
Is comfortable to ride and
A well-worn saddle made by a master craftsman.
had a lot of braided rawhide reins.
The tools of the trade in the tack room of a California cattle rancher.
I believe this is the one that he got from Will Rogers, and I've even seen it in a few movies that he did.
Who was also one of Hollywood's biggest stars.
Joel McCrea as the Virginian.
Actor Joel McCrea.
Son of a...
You call me that, smile.
Well, my grandfather always said he only acted so that he could afford to ranch, and that was half a joke because I know he loved acting.
Joel McCrea and his actress wife Frances Dee were two of the biggest stars during the golden age of Hollywood. They met in 1933 while co-starring in The Silver Cord. By year's end, they were married, living in the new home Joel had built on the ranch he'd bought about 45 miles north of Hollywood in what is now Thousand Oaks, California, where they would share life together for the next 57 years.
Yeah, my grandfather always said that it was close enough for him to get to them, but far enough away they couldn't get to him. So
the couple both had great success in Hollywood. Frances Dee starred in more than 50 films, including such classics as Little Women, Playboy of Paris, and An American Tragedy. Joel McCrea did more than 90 movies over 5 decades. Comedies, romance, and dramas.
If you knew how much I loved you, you'd faint. Sorry if I'm late, folks.
But he felt most at home in westerns.
Thanks.
And after 1946, with one exception, they were the only movies he made, including 1948's Four Faces West, the last of 4 films he co-starred in with Frances Dee. Early in his career, Joel made 2 pictures with Hollywood's biggest star of the 1930s, Will Rogers, who became a close friend and mentor.
Will asked him, what are you going to do with the money you're making from motion pictures? And my grandfather said, well, I hope to buy a ranch someday. And Will said, don't wait for someday. He said, you'll end up like all these other actors. You'll buy a big car and you'll cruise up and down Hollywood Boulevard and you'll have nothing left to show for it. So he's the one that kind of gave him the advice that if you're going to buy land, buy it now. He said they're not making any more of it.
It didn't take much persuasion. Joel McCrea had long dreamed of owning a ranch. Born in 1905, he learned to ride horses growing up in Hollywood, at a time when road crews still used horses to grade a new road called Hollywood Boulevard. Later, he would study acting at Pomona College under a very encouraging professor.
His drama instructor was the one that said, you've got some talent and you've got good looks and you might be able to afford that ranch a little sooner in life if you try acting. And so that's really kind of what pushed him into acting, and it worked out pretty well.
Joel and Frances enjoyed the best of both worlds, the perks, pay, and prestige of the movie business, and the ranching life in the country where they could raise their 3 sons far from the influence of Hollywood. The ranch would grow to 2,400 acres. The McCreas gave some of that land to 2 colleges, a wildlife refuge, a YMCA, and a Boys and Girls Club, donations totaling well over 100 acres. Most of the rest became what is today the city of Thousand Oaks. But a remnant remains of nearly 300 acres, including ranch buildings and the McCrea home, where Frances and Joel lived their Western dream, while welcoming such friends as Gary Cooper and Katharine Hepburn. And today the ranch is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
It's great to be able to keep the tradition alive, you know. I mean, there's been horses and McCrea's on this property for 82 years and horses for longer than that.
Joel passed away in 1990, Frances Dee in 2004. And the McCrea family wanted to preserve not only the Hollywood history of these 2 famous stars, but also a ranching way of life that has vanished in much of Southern California.
So much of it has been torn down. There's very, very little left that actually kind of shows that particular time period in history. And this ranch has pretty much been unchanged.
Today, the property has been donated to the local park district and is open to the public for tours on a limited basis.
But to be able to share that history with the general public and especially today's young people, because they really don't understand the history of farming and ranching or where food comes from. So those kind of things are the main driving force for what we're trying to do here today. And that's why in 2011 we built the little visitor center here.
The visitor center tells the story of this famous Hollywood couple who found fame and glory in the movies and lived the cowboy and ranching life far away from the spotlight.
Phil, you want to do it for 900?
The McCrea Ranch Foundation is working to restore the property and hosts periodic fundraisers at the ranch, which is also available for weddings and other special events. There are still those in Hollywood who love Westerns, and you'll often see those actors, stuntmen, and others connected to the business at McCrea Ranch events, like John Wayne's granddaughter.
They definitely knew each other. I think my grandfather had a huge crush on Frances Dee.
The Duke and Frances Dee co-starred in the 1941 film A Man Betrayed.
To save this for the children of this area, it's one of the things that touches my heart. So I'm happy to help Wyatt raise money to preserve this ranch out here.
John Wayne memorabilia was among the items auctioned off at the annual Cowboy Cookout.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
A chance for the public to enjoy dinner, entertainment, and tours of the ranch.
Well, I think it's for a very worthy cause. I mean, for two people who've given us so much, Mr. McCrea, and I have a 92-year-old mother who loves Westerns, and she watches them all the time, and some of them are Joel McCrea.
The Cowboy Cookout is the one and only time that the home of Joel McCrea and Frances Dee is open to public tours. It's fascinating to get a look at the home life of these Hollywood stars.
That was the state of the art in the 30s, and this one's kind of cool. The bell still goes. That's the way you'd get the operator.
I grew up in Thousand Oaks. It's my 56th year here. I didn't even know this was here.
I felt like I was living here with them. They were just out of town, and I just came in, and you've got all the little memorabilia in there and the personalized little plates in the kitchen, and it's just really sweet.
For those who love the movies, the cowboy life, or both, McCrea Ranch is a beautiful place to see with a fascinating story that's now a part of California and Western history.
You certainly feel their presence, there's no question about that.
But for Wyatt, it's all very personal. He was very close to his grandparents and lived on the property to help them out during their later years, and still lives here today with his wife, Lisa.
Oh, it's an absolute privilege to live here and enjoy what has been such a family history, and I just love it.
Well, you know, for me, it's kind of like hallowed ground, you know. I mean, my grandfather was a larger-in-life figure, and to be around him and to have had the opportunity to spend many years here at this ranch with him was just both a treat and a blessing for me. And to hear his stories and to hear all the time and work that he put into this place, building it up, I mean, it was those were special moments. There's no question about it. So for me to be able to try and carry on that legacy in even a small way is very important to me, and has become part of my life's work at this point.